Hi everybody, my name is Bree and I'm so blessed to be able to be making this video so that I can be there in spirit with you to help celebrate Anadine and everybody who she loves so much. And I'm just so blessed and honored to be a part of this. The day we met, she was coming into the hospital because my mom had called the church and said, my daughter just tried to end her life. Can somebody go talk to her? And that somebody was me. I was in the hospital, held on a psychological hold for 2 weeks because my attempt was not an attempt. I did it. But the Lord didn't allow me to die. And I'm so grateful. And I'm grateful to be here today so that I can tell you about this. I was in active, heavy addiction for about 20 years. I was homeless off and on, did a little bit of music, lived in a mansion, lived on a street in a tent, everything in between. I was depressed. I was anxious all the time. My hair color was changing every month. I just didn't know how to function. I didn't know how to have peace. And I was just a hot mess, right, Anadine? I think when I met her, I had pink and purple hair and I was in a pink and black tiger striped onesie in the hospital. Anyway, so she came in and she immediately just started loving on me. And I was blown away by this woman who didn't know me from anything, just coming in and being so kind and talking to me and praying for me. And so I remember very clearly after sharing part of my story with her, she looked at me and said, "Oh, honey, the devil must want you bad. God must have a purpose for you." How correct she was in that prophesying over my life. Long story short, she watched me go through bad relationships, and then one day I just dropped off the radar altogether. And the reason that was because I went into a Christian rehab center. And at this center, I thought church and God and the Bible and Jesus was just a load of you know what. But when I got there, I started to read the Bible and I started to talk to God. And I told God that if He helped me and if Jesus was real, that I would learn everything I could about Him and I would follow His instructions for my life from that day forward. And He showed up. The most dangerous prayer you can pray is a sincere, from the heart, God, if you're real, make yourself real to me, and I will follow you. Because God will do it. God will do it. And He had to take everything from my life, all the people I loved, all of the things that I thought were important in order for me to pay attention to Him finally. And I'm so glad that everything happened the way that it did. Because my life today, I went from homeless to I'm now in a 5-bedroom house with a pool and a garden. I've got 3 kids. I have the most incredible, loving husband. And I'll give you a quick little testimony on him too. We own a business. We're general contractors. Somebody just gave us their business. And the only reason that I am in the place that I am today is because I made good on my promise to God. He made Himself real and He started telling me what to do. And so I just simply started to obey Him. When I would say, Lord, do you want me to do this? And He would say yes or no. I would just do whatever He said, even if it didn't make sense. And because of that, I am sitting here today with no anxiety, no depression, no medication, a beautiful, intact, healthy, godly family. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm just telling you this so that you can understand how God can take somebody like me, who was a gutter snipe, hopeless, completely just, I'm so glad that you didn't know me, how I was back then, and turn me into the woman that I am today. Today, my husband and I are in church leadership. We're the heads of the worship ministry. My husband's a pastor, and he also has a similar testimony. He also had that yucky addiction life before he went to a rehab and changed his life. And we've both been clean for about 7 years now, going on 8 years. Business owners, our home is just, I never thought I couldn't have dreamt this up in my wildest dreams. We are not perfect. We make mistakes every day, but we are so blessed every day. So for those of you who aren't married, for those of you who have not found your mate yet, I just want to give you a great encouragement to wait to see who God has for you, because God knows what you need. God knows who your perfect mate is. God knows what you like. God knows what you need. And so his pick, he created that person specifically for you. You don't want to settle for less. You don't want to take and latch onto the counterfeit that Satan has for you, because Satan will always present a counterfeit before God blesses you with the real thing. And it's up to you to ask God and wait on him to make sure that you're not taking the cheap, yucky version that will fall apart in the future versus the real deal that's well made and perfectly suited just for you. When I was in that rehab, I was praying and reading my Bible. It was about 4:30 in the morning, and I heard the Lord speak into my heart as I was reading these 2 verses. You will know your husband by these verses. He will give them to you. And so I was like, okay. And I never told anybody what they were, because I wanted to make sure that this was just between God, me, and my husband. And so everybody was trying to fix me up with people, and they were like, oh, this guy would be so cute. You guys would be so great together. And I said, no. God told me that my husband would give me these special verses, and until that day comes, I'm just not even going to look at a man. There's no point. I don't want to waste their time. I don't want to waste my time. And so everyone thought I was crazy. They thought I was crazy. They kept going, so you think some guy is just going to come up to you and tell you 2 verses and then you guys are going to live happily ever after? Yeah, okay. I got lots of attitude, and people made fun of me for it. But that's okay, because about a year and a half after that, this guy that was on the worship team, I didn't like him. He really annoyed me. I didn't think that I wanted to have anything to do with him. But our pastor said, my dad's dying. You guys have to do worship together. And I went home and I threw a tantrum. I was like, this guy's not even that good. He doesn't even take his walk with God seriously. But I judged him. I didn't know him. And one day at practice, he turns to me and he goes, I was praying earlier and God showed me this section of scripture in the Bible. And he said what the verses were. And he said, does that mean anything to you? You could have knocked me over with a feather. I was like, what? And I kind of just like made a face and I went, maybe. And then I went home and I was like, Lord, are you serious? This guy? I mean, yeah, he was cute, but I knew from previous experiences with cute guys that cute doesn't last that long. So anyway, long story short, we immediately got together, got married. I didn't know what he did for a living. He was practically a stranger, but I knew that he was from the Lord because of those verses and because I was seeking God years back. And I held on to that promise and I took God at his word. And so today we've been married for about 6 years and it has gone so fast. And this is the best and healthiest relationship I've ever had. And it's wonderful. It's so wonderful. If you had told that pink and purple haired girl back in the tiger stripe onesie that had just tried to end her life in 2017 that my life would be what it is today, I never would have believed you. I never would have believed that I could have had peace without anti-anxiety medication. But I realize now that I was on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications because my soul was shaky. And just like when your physical body gets shaky when you get hungry, your spirit will get shaky when you're not spiritually feeding yourself. And I'm not talking about yoga. I'm not talking about any other thing. The only true spiritual feeding and nourishment that you can get, that God designed us to have, is the Bible and praying and Jesus. I would have thought that was crazy once upon a time, but now sitting on the other side of things, I know that Jesus is real. I know that he has saved me, and I know that he has done a mighty work in my life. And so I give him all the glory and all the praise, and I'm so blessed to be able to give that testimony today. I'm sorry if it was a little bit long, but he's done so much. And if there's anybody out there that wants God to do so much in their life, to take my life verses that the Lord gives you beauty for ashes. And so I gave him this wrecked life. I had nothing to offer. I had burned my life to the ground. It was ash. And I said, Lord, take this, show me what you want me to do, and I'll do it. And now he has made my life nothing but beauty. And so I seek him and I love him and I follow him with all my heart, mind, soul, and strength. And that's the first commandment in the Bible. It says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and all your strength. And if you're not doing that, you're breaking the first and greatest commandment that God's given. And so I really encourage you, if that's where you are right now, to just say, God, I'm sorry. Show me how to love you with all my heart, mind, soul, and strength. And if you truly mean that from your heart, he will. He'll take the things of your life that are terrible, that you think will never change, that you think no good could ever come from, and he will make it gorgeous. So thank you so much for your time. I hope and pray I can meet you all very soon. And Anadine, happy birthday. Thank you so much for loving on me when I was unlovable. Thank you for praying for me. Look at the power of prayer. Look what the Lord has done. You are a jewel in the Lord's crown, and you're such a faithful servant and so humble. And you constantly give of yourself, just like Jesus. And so I love you. God bless you. I hope you guys have a wonderful time. Life is short. Love one another and love the Lord your God.